What up, punks?
I didn't realize I actually do that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, when we did that spoof episode in Glory, it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I think it's just been stuck in my head. Then I'm like, well, now I have to do it.
You have to do it, yeah.
It's a meta joke, meta style.
It's meta on meta.
Ryan Reynolds game on lock.
Uh-oh. What up, punks? Welcome back to another episode of the Pop Culture Punks podcast.
Yeah.
This is your host, Phil, and across from me is your boy,
Josh.
And we're here, like we are every week, to bring pop culture to the pit.
Ugh.
Woo! This week, we will be talking a little bit about Black Friday.
Black Friday.
All the people we punched and kicked to get the stuff we want.
I scored 2 grandmas, 1 small child, and a couple moms.
Yeah, buddy. Same thing.
Bam!
Same here.
Give me
a couple grandpas, too.
I'm trying to buy this controller for my grandson.
Fortnite for my grandson. You know it's free, right?
You know it's free.
So, yeah. But before we get into that, 2 questions.
Yes.
1, what have you been up to?
What's going on?
I was trying to think of the order I should do them in.
I gotcha.
The first one is pop culture updates. What have you been up to? Anything new? Whatever. I know it was the holiday. So then the second question is, how was Thanksgiving / Black Friday time?
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll jump into it.
Jump on into it. I don't know what to say. Literally, I didn't do anything really. Like I am super behind on pop culture stuff. It's really bad. I didn't bring any game consoles along on holiday. I think because I knew time would be limited and I didn't want to. I was like, I could bring my Switch down and all this stuff. I didn't get around to it, and I think I did some other things instead. But it's a blur. Except for the food I ate, which was great. I got made fun of by my family for this, but I'm going to stick to it. I am not into the crazy fanfare Thanksgiving foods. I'm not about the cranberry sauce and like the stuffing and all this. I'm like, turkey.
Is that because of retail too?
No. Yeah. This is all you're allowed to eat. You fluff trees and you eat cranberry sauce, and that is it. I've never been into like I don't eat stuffing. I don't eat like the things. What is Jell-O? Why is Jell-O a Thanksgiving food?
Jell-O's not a Thanksgiving food.
It's absolutely. It was everywhere. It was all over.
Like, what are you talking?
All
just
families.
Jell-O?
Like just like a very specific style of Jell-O. It's that dome looking thing. And it's got like the
hole in the middle.
Yeah,
like on Christmas Vacation when it's got
so.
the cat food in there, and they're like, yeah, I suppose it's a thing. My family's never had Jell-O.
I don't eat Jell-O. I don't eat cranberry sauce. I don't eat stuffing. I don't eat Brussels sprouts. Well, like
Brussels sprouts.
Oh yeah, dude.
The heck, man.
Yeah, all these, dude. It's a whole thing.
I'm in the same boat, but I would just never associate any of those things with good.
Since I can remember,
so
all those
turkey
things.
Taters or
turkey and taters with corn and gravy mixed into the taters.
Okay,
so
those
are
the
corn,
staples.
Exactly.
Those are what you need.
I'm like,
everything else is just
this
frivolous.
right here. This is literally probably what they ate on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did.
Yep.
Cranberry sauce. And they didn't have fridges. They couldn't make Jell-O, or it was nasty. I don't even know why.
Exactly. Probably couldn't make mashed potatoes either, but that's.
I'm sure that someone figured it out. It was some.
It was probably
kid,
just potatoes.
That was probably the founding moment of mashed potatoes. Was some kid didn't want to eat his regular potatoes, and so he'd like mash them, and they're like, Johnny, don't play with your mashed potatoes. You're making us look bad in front of the the Native Americans. And the Native Americans were like, hey, you should throw some corn in there, and bam, mashed potatoes and corn.
So you mix it all up.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a mixer. I'm a hardcore mixer.
This year we didn't have corn for some reason.
Weird.
But I'm in the same boat as you in that I do eat stuffing. I usually just take a little bit. I'm not a huge stuffing fan. It's got a weird taste to it. I don't know what it is.
It's got a lot of carbs there, buddy boy. You better...
Yeah, especially now that I have diabetes, I save most of my carb intake for the taters.
Nice.
But yeah, we didn't have corn, so I usually just take turkey, mashed potatoes, and a little bit of stuffing. And this year we had green bean casserole, so I took a little bit of that.
I don't eat
Sometimes you got to take a little bit
around.
of everything just to satiate the family and make sure you try a little bit of everything.
No, man, hardcore. They were like, what's wrong with you? That's all you're eating? I was like, darn right.
Absolutely.
Guess what country this is? America. And what are we celebrating? Thanksgiving. And I'm thankful that I can eat whatever the heck I want.
That's great. Yeah, I've never been a huge cranberry guy either. It's the worst of all of the fruits or whatever it's considered.
It's a solid fruit. I'm not opposed to cranberries.
It's bitter.
That's kind of the point.
If it's not sweet, it ain't a fruit.
I don't want to be bitter.
Then it's a vegetable. Anything that's disgusting is a vegetable, in my opinion.
I would love a thesis paper written on that logic. Everything that's terrible is a vegetable.
If it's disgusting, it's a vegetable.
Therefore, Fallout 76, vegetable. Bad B movies, vegetables. Get them out of here.
Get them out. So, yeah. Interesting.
I'm
so all you
man.
Did was eat food.
I just
ate food and hang out with the
family. And I did go Black Friday shopping, but we're not talking about that yet. So
not quite yet.
I really don't have any. Well, I have pop culture updates, but they're tied to Black Friday, so I'll kind of like
keep it in line with that.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine's not too big either. Because I was traveling as well. I decided to bring my Switch because I wanted to keep on that Poke train. Even though I realized our Pokemon review episode is not for like 2 weeks for some reason.
Okay, good, because you sent me that and I was like, crud, I am super behind.
Yeah, it might even be 3 weeks.
Yeah,
like we got a while.
Okay,
we'll talk. We'll have
Smash comes out next Friday, bro.
Yeah,
next Friday.
I'm holding out on that one till Christmas.
That's all.
But
good.
We'll have to have a
that
Smash thing
week,
so we can talk about it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mostly played Pokemon. Because that was what I had time for, especially because it's portable and I play in handheld, so it's nice. Couple other things. I've been making my way through the Dark Tower series still, like I talked about a long time ago.
How many books are in that?
7.
Stephen King books ain't short either.
No, heck no.
Boy.
It's interesting. I think the overall concept is fascinating, but the ride is sometimes boring. But like I'm determined to finish them. So I found that it's actually more interesting when he actually goes back to like the real world, because there's like portals into like New York and different things.
Sure.
So like he's a lot better at writing like real world scenarios in my opinion, and they're much more riveting than like when they're in like the fantasy type world.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to go dive too far into a rabbit hole on this, but I am curious. So boring is like a pretty broad statement. So what about it? Is it, because I mean, I'd probably get a huge ton of kickback for this, but I could not read the Lord of the Rings books or like The Hobbit, because it's just, Tolkien is an amazing author. He knows how to craft a world.
Yeah.
But I could not. It was hard.
I agree. I think it's similar to the Lord of the Rings in that like when you're reading it, sometimes you're just like, man, this is boring. Like it's beautiful, it's poetic, but it is boring. Like, there's a lot of parts where I could not get through in the Lord of the Rings. Like you almost have to like read it in small bits. Like you can't plow through it like a lot of entertainment books. And I think it feels similar to that. Mm-hmm. Maybe not as poetic.
Sure.
But I think it's the same Stephen King thing where sometimes he gets bogged down in description. And I wouldn't say Tolkien gets bogged down in description. I think that's where he excels, but description sometimes gets boring if there's not a lot of forward momentum.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's similar in that sense.
Sure.
Where like when the action is happening, you're just like, dang, this is awesome, and like the world is cool in the way that I picture it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's moments where it's just like, oh, get on with it.
Yeah.
Get on with it, sort of. But yeah, I'm trying to make my way through that. I've got like 150 pages left of the 5th one, so
sweet.
It's been taking me like a year to read just because I keep dropping.
Well, that's a lot of books.
Red Dead got me on a Western, so I found a Western comic called The Blueberry Saga, which has been pretty good. And then I started watching a show last night actually called Veep. I've
never heard of it.
It's on HBO. It's got Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Elaine from Seinfeld. She's the main character, and she's the vice president. And I watched like 2 episodes right now. It's pretty funny.
So Kramer, get out of the Oval Office.
It kind of reminds me of. She reminds me very much of Elaine from Seinfeld, but more like politician version.
Is it comedy?
Yeah.
Okay. I was sure all of a sudden it turned into like HBO House of Cards or.
No, it's kind of like an HBO version of like Parks and Rec.
Interesting.
It's like a political. It's like a political drama, but mixed with comedy.
That actually sounds
maybe
pretty
a little
funny.
bit more towards the drama side than like the goofy comedy side. So it's like super fast paced though. Like it feels like they captured the political world really well because like one episode is like 27 minutes on HBO, and it's just like every scene is just like boom, 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 and it almost makes you feel like you understand like the political world a little bit more. So it's been kind of cool so far.
Nice.
So yeah, that's mostly what I did. Yeah, my Thanksgiving was pretty chill too. Just a lot of hanging out with family and I think I had 3 Thanksgiving dinners, or 3 Thanksgiving meals, not including leftovers that I've had the past 2 days.
Nice.
So maybe like 5 total of turkey and mashed potatoes and stuff.
It's a good amount.
So good stuff. Yeah. And then the rest of my stuff is Black Friday stuff.
Cool.
I'll throw out a couple news items quick.
Yes, sir.
So today I think
I saw that too. Neon
Genesis Evangelion is coming to Netflix in the spring of 2019. Yeah. I know you have mixed feelings about it, but I've never been able to watch it. And I don't know if this is confirmed, but I saw somebody say that they'll even have like the movies with the alternate endings and stuff.
Oh, I might go back and watch those then. Here's the thing. I think Zach's poked at me a couple times with that, and he knows because he's actually read the manga and he's actually talked through like, when does it get to this point and this point? I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I remember that. That was amazing. And I said, because I thought he watched it, or he there was something he experienced where he was like, I get it. I completely understand how infuriating
like your
that
perspective.
Would be. Yeah, because my perspective is I really was angry at the end of the show because I loved it so much, and the last like 2 or 3 episodes just were like, did you run out of budget? Like, what happened? And it didn't make a lot of sense, and there are a lot of loopholes that, and granted, I mean, I may enjoy it more if I go back and view it. I think it's almost like a show that you have to see and watch with the expectation that you are viewing this with the goal that at the end you will kind of have to make a call on what happened and what everything means. And I don't think I was ready for that. And so I think if I went back and actually was like picking through for little tidbits here and there and things that are going on or what certain goals are, that it might actually be more interesting, that kind of philosophical, ambiguous ending. But at the time when I watched it, which I think was for a class, I had to like binge
I think it was either you watched that or Serial Experiments Lane.
Yeah, and I watched Neon
Genesis.
I watched separate.
Yeah.
And so at the end of it, I remember the credits rolling.
I remember
and
you
then
being
going,
ticked.
Because I was going through and I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And then all of a sudden I was just like one after the other. I couldn't stop watching. And I'm like, this is great. And I'm doing this for a class. This is awesome. And then I got to the last episode and then the credits rolled and I was like, why isn't there another one playing? Oh, you're kidding me. No, it's not. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then I was just like, this is, you're kidding me. It's ridiculous.
Maybe when that comes out, we'll have to do a Late to the Party review or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty stoked on that because I've always wanted to watch it, but I usually don't go out of my way to watch something if it's not readily available.
Yeah.
So.
If we did review that show and I still maintain my opinion at the end, that would be the one show that if someone who's a mega fan word got out that we didn't like it, that would be the thing that would
that'll put us on the map.
Yep, that'll get us on the map because people will be like, you're wrong. But doesn't matter.
So yeah, that's coming. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Venom did 800 million.
I wrote that today.
Worldwide.
Yep. Yeah.
I saw that. What movie did it beat? It beat it beat Wonder Woman, I think, in worldwide sales. Which
that makes me so mad.
Is astounding. I don't know if it's like the monstery aspect of it, because the way that the way that it was marketed in like Asian countries was very different. I think
weird.
I saw like some posters and stuff, and maybe that sort of film appeals to different audiences. I don't know.
It could. And here's the other thing too: is I also think that they played a market really well with a very poor product because they knew everyone's clamoring for superhero movies because every single one has been a hit because they've all been good. This one was not, and I think if another company tried to do this again, I don't think it would do as well. That's my theory.
I think the skepticism is definitely setting in.
Yeah, so
especially with the second one, it'll be interesting to see what the sales end up being on that.
Yep.
But they left it so open ended that it's like you almost have to see the second one now because like what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I think it was.
So maybe they're too smart when it comes to marketing.
It was like, I think it was a turd that was blowing in the wind and it just snuck through the door enough that people didn't catch on to it.
They didn't catch on.
But I think if another turd started knocking on the door, they'd be like, no.
I'm not falling for the turd.
I'm not falling for the turd through the door thing again. No. Your name is not on the list, sir. Go away.
That's great. Warframe is out. I don't know when that came out, but I think it was recently,
last
right?
Tuesday, I believe.
I saw you post that, and I was like, Warframe. Isn't that just isn't that just like a dumb like hero shooter sort of thing?
No.
And then I looked it up because there's this YouTuber I follow called Beat 'em Ups, and he did a video on it, and I was like, this actually looks like. I mean, for one, it looks really good on the Switch. I was surprised.
Oh yeah, it does.
And especially with like how chaotic some of the scenes looked, I was just like, how are they pulling this off with some of the crappy games that people have ported to the Switch? So yeah, I'm tempted to download it because it's free.
It's 100% free.
I
downloaded it on my PS4 a while back just for kicks and giggles, just because I was like, I think I was killing time for a new game, and I'd always heard about it, and so I wanted to give it a shot. It is dope. It is as a free to play game. Whoa, like this
it kind of reminds me of like a third person Destiny almost, but like completely free.
I think honestly a lot of the hate for Destiny comes from Warframe fans, and the reason being that a lot of them I think have the mindset that this game is amazing, it's constantly getting free updates, there's a constant plethora of content, it's fast paced, you can play with your friends, and it's like top of the bar, it's free, 100% free. And I think so when Destiny came out and it was like, hey, $60 for a base game, that's pretty empty. And then it was like, hey, $40 more for 2 more DLC packs. Hey, another $40 for. It was just like, I think a lot of people started looking at it, and I think that the majority of the maybe like, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who hate Destiny just because but I think a lot of the people that had more quote unquote objective or fact-based complaints with it
who had played similar games.
Who had played like Warframe and were like, I'm playing this game that functions almost identically and it's 100% free and I don't have to pay for updates.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Anthem because
based
on what I saw, this seems like a similar concept. Like it's a Destiny type game, it's third person, it has like Iron Man-y type suits that you can jump into. They're called javelins in that game, but they're called Warframes in this one. I'm like, I don't know. This game being free, it seems like these companies are trying to jump onto it and still expecting people to pay $60.
Yes.
For a game that you could play for free that's probably just as good, but it's also more fleshed out at this point.
I remember playing it and I was like, holy crud, if I had found this in high school and I had complete access in this,
played a game like
oh my gosh, I would have been all over it. And the reason being, it is, I love third person shooters. It is fast, it is frantic. You actually have to be good. It's got this like cool cyber fantasy sci-fi ninja samurai type vibe going on. Yeah. It's very unique in a lot of ways, and I think it's just fun. And I
think a game like that, it's a whole different discussion, but I feel like a game like that needs to be free because the guy I was watching even said like he tried it when it first came out and like it was fun, but it was just like you can choose between four whatever, and like there wasn't a ton of content at the beginning, but it's free. And so like, but now you get to this point 4 or 5 years later, and you have like 30 different javelins and like a fully fleshed out universe now with like tons of worlds and tons of content and like different quests you can do and people and all this crazy stuff, and it's still free. Whereas like a game like Destiny comes out that's trying to be a similar concept, like loot shooter / action shooter type game, but you pay $60 for it, and then people expect a certain experience for $60. And that's kind of what I'm afraid with Anthem too. It's like you're expecting a certain experience and you're not going to get it because they're trying to be something that shouldn't be paid. It should be free if you're going to do the pay as a service model. So,
I think if you're going to
which they can't do because Activision's like, no, and EA's like, no.
Yeah.
They don't understand the free to play model yet.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like it's a gamble, and I totally understand. And I think this is the thing is like, again, like Destiny, I played Destiny 2 a little bit on my PC because I got it for free with my graphics card, and it's like it's still a great shooter. It still physically feels good. I still like it looks really good on my PC. If I had paid $60 for it, I don't know if I would have.
Well, and that's the thing that I'm it's just interesting because the way these types of games seem to work, at least the ones that succeed, is like you have to release a base game that's not your full vision because it's a game as a service model.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
a really good point.
In some ways, that's what Fallout 76 is trying to be. Like, it's a game as a service. Like, all DLC are free. Mm-hmm. Everything's funded through microtransactions. It's just that these giant, like, these traditional development companies don't understand how games as a service actually works, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to shoehorn it in and still make us pay $60 for a base game.
Right.
And, like, if it was free, people would be a lot more forgiving with technical difficulties and glitches and server problems and all that stuff because they're like, oh, it's free, and they're going to update it regularly and patch it, which is what they do with games like Warframe and Fortnite and all these types of games. And it's just, again, it's the similar discussion we were talking about before, where like the industry is trying to capitalize on this thing that just doesn't gel well with the traditional $60 price tag. Like,
yep, yeah.
People don't like paying $60 for nothing.
Or what feels like nothing.
What feels like nothing,
at the end of it,
and especially with a game like Destiny, like traditionally you would offer all of the DLC for free in a game like in a games as a service type game. You would offer things for free, updates for free, at the cost of having microtransactions that people kind of fund that for. It's almost like having both. People are just like, no, I'm not both paying for the game, paying for all of the content and all of the updates, and also have to pay for the cosmetic things. It's just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain when you look at a game like Warframe and you're like, how is this all free?
Yeah, when it's like well made, the graphics are incredible. And before I lose the thought, I think the other thing that would be really interesting is, because I've been thinking about, kind of like we were saying with like industry stuff and just what's happening, and there's a lot of shaking up and things like that. And I think what's weird that's going on is you're seeing the companies that have a very clear disconnect finally suffering for that disconnect. And I think you're seeing companies that are really understanding where the current is and what's going on and how and why certain things are working, and they're doing them, and they're blowing everybody out of the water. And it's very clear, because I think, so for example, I don't think it's fair that people look at a game like Destiny and then they're like, but see, like this, Wolfenstein 2 didn't have DLC. I'm like, well, it's because it was a hero, like a story-driven, protagonist-based, 15-mission long shooter. Like, that's dumb. Like, you can't make that comparison. You can, however, make that comparison to The Division, and I think that's interesting if you start doing that, because Division 1, you had to pay $40, $50 for the season pass to get the subway thing, and then
that game wasn't even like actually
wasn't super good
until like a year and a half later.
Now with Division 2 though, free DLC, free raids, free updates, free everything. And so I think that to me is a sign of Ubisoft kind of getting the hint a little bit. And you saw people go nuts when they were like, everyone said it was free. That even perked my ears a little bit, because I was like, hey, I enjoyed the general vibe of The Division. The first one was fun. I wasn't going to pay $50 for the pass, but playing it was fulfilling, and I got something out of it. And I think that's where Bungie shot themselves in the foot, and I think I have more issue with, I think to your point, I think fewer people would have a general vendetta against games like Destiny and The Division and some of the titles that don't seem to be, and even with like 76, I think they wouldn't have that same hatred for it if there wasn't an entry fee into the party.
Yep.
And I think that's the whole thing that I think
the whole problem
I think that's the thing that hinges on the games as a service model, is it isn't you pay $60 as your entrance fee and then you get to go to the bar and have drinks and, go get food and stuff like that. You go into the party, you kind of look around and you're like, I don't want to stay here. This isn't good. And you leave. And there's no cost to you. But the people who really love it there, man, they put money into it because they're like, you deserve this. You've earned my presence here. I mean, like, it sounds pretentious, but people are like, I've heard to.
Like,
right.
That's the thing, is like, people always talk about how gamers are entitled, but at the same time, like, yes, we are entitled because we're the ones paying for your product. Like,
right, exactly.
We are the ones who are funding your your endeavors.
Right. Like so technically,
so
if
we
deserve, didn't buy your thing
if I pay
anymore,
$60, I deserve $60 worth of content.
Right.
If you're going to charge me $60.
Right.
And if that's not what you're going for, then don't charge me $60.
Yeah. And I think it would have been really interesting. And I mean, they would never do this because I think it's just a mod, like a standard. But like, what if 76 had came out and it was $20? Like, would the lashback
People would be a lot less forgiving.
See,
I think they would.
See, and I think a lot less forgiving or more forgiving?
Or more forgiving. Sorry. Yeah.
I just want to make sure because to me it's like I think people still would have been mad of like, oh, I wasted $20, but to me it's like I think what we're running into is this thing where now we have these hallmark examples of, and granted they're in different game genres and different spheres, and so you can't make one-to-one direct comparisons.
Yeah.
But you have Red Dead that comes out for $60. And granted, that may not be some people's cup of tea, but then when you compare that to Destiny 2, Division,
well, that's the thing is
76,
with 76,
all these
like
things.
The initial gut reaction was like, "This is not Fallout. I am mad. Like, why did you destroy my franchise?" To now, after people have kind of settled down, the discussion has become, "This is just a poorly made game. Like, this is not what we should expect from a company who has made good games in the past." And like people are basically shifting the conversation of like, Bethesda doesn't deserve a free pass anymore when it comes to bugginess and glitchiness. And like,
exactly.
If I'm paying $60 for a AAA, this is supposed to be a AAA game, then it should be a AAA quality game that I pay $60 for. And it's like, if it was $20 for that game I would say is worth it. It's a $20 game. In the current state. Maybe in a year and a half it's one of the greatest games ever, but they lost their chance. Like with games like this, people are unforgiving. Like people aren't going to come back just because it's Fallout, just because of whatever. So like, and maybe they will. I don't know. Division had a resurgence, I think, but
so did No Man's Sky too.
And No Man's Sky had a resurgence too, but it's like
it took a while.
But if that game had come out the way it is now, I think it would have been like it would have been like
it would have broken the
industry defining. Like if it would have been what they promised it would have been industry defining. In the same way, I think Fallout 76 could have been something, and it's just not.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, yeah, you're right. It's just companies not understanding. They just don't get why these things are successful. Yeah, and it's weird because Bungie, like, they made Halo.
Right.
One of the best and most successful things. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's Activision. Like, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
I mean, it's...
And no matter how much people want to think that they have their freedom, like, the publisher at the end of the day is like, where's the money?
Yep.
And that's what we see starting to happen with Blizzard too. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just really weird. I think it's a really weird situation because I think we're having games that are coming into, like, I think we're so saturated with media in general that I think you not only do you have to stand out more, but
absolutely.
I think I feel like, and I think it's a good thing, I honestly do, that there is more shakeup, because I think what has happened for so many generations and so many years of the industry is that, and I think films too, all of a sudden TV, Netflix, Hulu, all these things have been shaking up because all of a sudden you don't get a pass just because you're a top dog and you made X movie. It's like, I don't care, because these people who had an iPhone made something way better. It's free, and I infinitely enjoy this more. Why am I going to watch, or even, I think like with YouTubers, I do think YouTube is a good thing in that sense for creators is, no, the production value isn't the same thing as a Christopher Nolan Batman movie, or like, no, it's not the same thing as like a Universal Studios epic film. But if you're getting more enjoyment out of it, and you're maybe like, hey, I'll kick this person $5 a month, good on them. Good on them for these for people to be making stuff that people want. And I just think it's knowledge to know that. I think it's infuriating because you have all these people with these huge budgets and these huge classes of mega talent that are surrounding them, and they just can't crack the simple answer that is, you don't own your throne just because you had it a year ago. That's not how this works.
Which traditionally that is how it
exactly
worked. And now, that's why with 76 the hammer's cracking down.
Yes.
And the narrative has shifted from like, no, like, you don't get a pass anymore.
Right. And I think
it almost like has hurt them even more because like if this had just been another Fallout game that was like good, I don't think people would be as skeptical. No. But because they released a game that had all of the aspects about Fallout that most people didn't like, and none of the ones that allowed them to kind of overlook those things, people are like, wait a minute, like something shifty's going on here. Like why did they release this game in the state it's at? And I think that's happening with a lot of developer consumer relations now. And I think it's good in some sense because it shows that we as consumers actually have the power now because of things like YouTube and small indie developers and different things. Like there's still a market out there for high quality games that aren't going to probably sell a ton in the long term. So like God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider-Man, even over time, like they're going to sell a ton of copies initially, but they're not going to bring in the continual revenue that all these companies want. But if you do that every 3-4 years,
you catch up.
You're going to bring in a ton of money, and people are going to praise you. Like people are going to sing your name across the internet, like CD Projekt. Like people do almost to the point where you're like, come on, like calm down.
Everybody's
people.
A fan.
Yeah, like everybody brings them up in every discussion, and people even get sick of it on Reddit now. But like, if you want that, you need to create.
You have to
games.
earn it.
Otherwise, people will just like you're gonna make money, but people aren't gonna praise your company anymore.
I think it's.
But maybe we're belaboring the point too much.
I think, and I mean, we've joked we're gonna do a whole nother episode on this, but I think what it literally is, and this is kind of my closing thesis, is I literally think it's a flipping of what the status quo was. I think the original status quo was the big top dog companies where, well, we're entitled to your money because we're the only ones making the stuff that you want, and everyone's like, frick, you're right. Now it is completely flipped, and I think the companies, like I mentioned earlier, I think the companies that are really, really, really starting to hurt are some of the biggest names in the industry. And it's not because they're lacking talent or skill or they don't have the creative capacity, but I think they literally do not understand that no one needs to buy your thing. No one really is going to buy your thing if you keep doing this. And I think, to continue to praise Warframe, what I've read constantly across whenever I've seen it come up in discussions, and usually, again, it's well, you should be playing Warframe instead of Destiny 2 and blah, blah, blah. And, shrugging that aside for a second, but it's the fact that people give money to that game because, one, I didn't pay anything for it. And so if I can kick this developer $10 and it goes straight to them and they're giving me more free stuff, sure. Because if you think about it, I spend $10 a month on Hulu. Okay, well, like, what if I didn't have Hulu and Warframe was my only game, and they're a game developer, and they're the developers are making things for the next 5 years. Well, if I kick them $10 a month, like subscription service style, paying them, I'm basically paying for my content. I'm getting cool stuff in the game that I don't feel bad if I didn't have, but you want to give them stuff. And I don't think that big companies understand that anymore, is that like we want to buy your content.
People are willing to buy digital goods and microtransactions, but not if you also have to pay for everything else too.
Well, exactly, and I think
like people want to feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yes, and I think you joked, and I think it's the perfect statement on the situation was you don't want to feel dirty. Like you don't want to feel like you're like whoring yourself to these huge companies of like, well, I guess I also want. It's like they're drug dealers for crying out loud. Where it's like, oh, if we just get you with a little bit, and just you keep coming back. And I do think to some extent people are hooked on this thing that they just feel like they haven't experienced something on the other end of it that is really good. And I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Yep. I think.
Speaking of online and corruption, also out this week is Red Dead Online.
Is it? Did they officially?
Well,
the beta, right?
The beta starts this week. Ultimate Edition owners got the codes today.
Okay.
I think anybody who played it within the first 24 hours gets codes tomorrow or Thursday. And then after that, I think it keeps going. It basically just keeps expanding until whatever. But I'm hoping I get a code for it because I definitely played it in the first 24 hours, I think. So hopefully I get a code for it. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I probably won't play it a ton just because it's going to probably descend into what GTA Online is, just craziness. But it'll be interesting to see and just test out.
Definitely.
And then the last bit of news before we get into what we got. is that CD Projekt Red, it's the third time we've brought them up, is looking to Red Dead Redemption 2 as their inspiration for the bar to hit. So
wow.
There are devs already out there looking to Red Dead and seeing like there's still a huge market for single player games that are high quality.
Yep.
So and then they also said that they commented on like interiors will be fully accessible and you can go on all the floors of the buildings and get quests.
Oh my
and, like,
gosh.
So like they said that like the map
boy.
is technically bigger than The Witcher, but that also includes like verticality.
Oh my lord.
So it might be actually smaller, but like the verticality will add into the like so being able to go in skyscrapers and like getting quests from random people in their rooms or something, like I don't know.
That's insane.
It's gonna be cool. So I'm kind of hoping that it comes out next year.
I do too, dude. But
and that'll jump into my next thing. But so yeah, that's that's another thing is that got me hyped even more. Like the fact that they're looking at Red Dead Redemption as a thing, and then that buildings will be fully traversable and different things like that. So
I literally, if that comes out next year, the following year, or like from that point on, I think I'm going to literally swear to an oath that is going to be my one game for a whole year. I'm not even kidding, because it's in my all-time
after that
favorite
game comes
genre.
Because next year we got Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
I can live without it, man.
But that comes out in like February. There
It's
ain't no way
January.
CD Projekt's coming out before that.
No.
So
I'm anticipating.
So you
by
got
the end
until
of the,
the fall maybe,
right?
to swear off all.
Yep,
of
exactly.
games.
It's so, but legit, dude. Because I just feel like a game like that it would be a huge disservice to not go every inch. And even with Red Dead, I think like I love it. It's just I'm not like a diehard Western fan.
Yeah, like Red Dead is a pinnacle of gaming right now, but like Westerns aren't my thing necessarily. Like
right.
I've gotten into them more after playing this game. Like I kind of want to check out some like old Western films and like read some old Western books and stuff. But like Cyberpunk is like, dude, I'm gonna explore every inch of this world.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah. So, oh my goodness.
It's going to be awesome.
Oh boy.
There will be lots of gushing on the podcast.
Oh, you can imagine.
All of the news that will come out next year, we're just going to be so hyped. So
we're not going to talk about anything else for a whole year.
We're now the cyberpunk podcast.
Oh my gosh. Coin it now. Oh jeez.
We'll have to make a dope shirt with like pop culture cyberpunks podcast.
Oh, you know it.
So yeah, that's all of the news. I mean, there's plenty of other news, but that's the ones that stood out to me.
Dude,
so,
I didn't even see the addition on the top. Interesting.
What
you get? I find it funny the thing that you and I both got, but to lesser degrees.
Oh, the commonality. Dude, I'm actually kind of stoked because you can start with your thing and then we'll go into it.
Yeah. So
what'd you get?
That was all our news thing.
Got?
So we're about to floss. Everybody on our Black Friday.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I wanna make this clear though. Like and this isn't to be like morally grandstand. I plan for Black Friday every year. It isn't like
I got
I'm
a
gonna
spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm like it isn't like I go in and I'm like I'm about to drop like $700 just for the heck of it. I like we like literally won the lottery in terms of like point system with our card, and so we got like basically a bunch of free gift cards. And so we're like, so we're gonna bank those until Black Friday, and so we ended up.
I basically use Black Friday as an opportunity to like get Christmas presents because Evan's family does it where like usually you buy like half of the things you want and then they just wrap it up and give it to you.
I more or less
so
did
like
that,
most of mine are just like I don't even have this yet, but I did buy it and I got it on a good deal. So
right, yeah, that was with my family. They're like, well, what do you want? I was like, I don't know. There's a butt ton of movies that I'm looking to get, and they're like, well, just pick them up and we'll give it. So I gotta wait till December for some of them, but whatever.
Yeah, I kept the ones I wanted to watch now.
Yeah. So I'll throw out the smaller time things, I guess. So Kingsman Golden Circle. So the second movie in the Kingsman.
Still,
dude, it's.
Did you watch it?
I thought you did see the second one.
I saw the first one.
Oh, you saw the first one?
Never saw the second one.
You didn't.
It was one of those things where like I liked the first one, but I didn't like it enough to go out of my way to see the second one for some reason.
Interesting.
But then when I watched the first one the second time, I was like, this is a good movie. Because
I thought I distinctly remember you saying that you saw the second one and there was a moment in it that you were like,
no, I do remember telling you that.
Yeah.
But it was because I hadn't seen it yet and I was giving you a forewarning that like I had seen it on Reddit.
Oh,
some people saying
it. That makes sense.
Because there's in the first one there's an awkward scene too where it's like that's
and
was
they
not necessary at all.
They do the same thing in this one, and it was just
and
like,
my guess was
really,
like those scenes were kind of like a nod to old school British sort of
spy
like
movies,
James Bond sort of like there needs to be that sort of. But
yeah, it's got to be in there somewhere. But
yeah, for some reason I haven't seen it.
It was really good.
You watched it?
Yeah. So Gloria and I watched it last Saturday, so the day after Black Friday.
Nice.
And it was because she
so
usually
you did do some pop culture stuff.
I did,
but I guess
that's why I said that's why I said it was like I didn't want to bring it up now, but man, it's just. I feel like if anyone wants to make a good action movie, they need to look to those movies for inspiration. And I think the reason why, and I think even it counts for like Daredevil too, is they let you watch it. They show you everything. And I'm speaking from an editor's perspective that when you're cutting 5,000 times after every punch, and even if this is a super detailed choreographed scene, if I'm to the dude's left and then I'm above him and then I'm looking through his legs and then I'm like, all this stuff, it's like, I don't know what the heck is going on or where I am, and it's disorienting. And I think for sometimes when that's the effect, that's great. But I think what Kingsman does so well is even from the character's perspective of these are like seasoned fighting spy veterans, just the moments in the middle of a fight where they're like grabbing stuff and they're throwing it and the dude already saw it coming, so he's grabbing it, he's throwing it back, and they're having to react and they're like throwing punches and this guy's running. It just, you get to feel the fight and you see it happen and you see it play out, and it's so much fun to witness the actual detail of the choreography and just how crazy it gets. And it's hard. Like I know it's hard to do that. It takes
absolutely.
It's incredible, but I just feel like
that
it's
was a big reason why I liked the first one.
Yeah, it's a huge.
The action scenes were dope.
It's awesome.
I'll have to check it out.
Yep. So Kingsman, Golden Circle, Ant-Man and the Wasp. We'll probably watch that this weekend. I did pick up God of War, so I've got that in the queue.
Yeah, buddy.
And then my big buy.
The big boy.
Which
is kind of a commonality.
It is, which is kind of funny. So I wanted to get I wanted to get a 4K player for a while, and because of these gift cards.
Also, a preface, because I also got Ant-Man and the Wasp too.
Yes.
The 4K version was cheaper than the Blu-ray version.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I was like, I don't get it. But
so I guess I have the 4K version now.
Yeah.
But it comes with Blu-ray.
Right.
Now I'm going to have a 4K player.
Yeah. So I ended up, and I literally got it for free as a result of it. So that's why I didn't.
Wait, you got?
Well, I mean, as a result of these gift cards, it was like
I
basically got this thing for free. So I got an Xbox One. I got the One S. Because they were stupid cheap, man. Like it was.
I almost convinced my brother to buy one because he's like, I kind of want to get a gaming machine, but then he's like, I don't want to get back into gaming because it's huge.
That's fair.
But they were so cheap.
Yeah.
Did you get a bundled version or? Did you just
I got
buy
the Minecraft one, but I was like,
you did.
Dumb. I was so mad. Like I was.
Were all the other bundles gone or?
No, they had like I almost just went up for the Battlefield 5 bundle, but it was like 200 versus like 230.
Oh yeah.
And in my mind, because of again, like I'm in this like gift card budget thing that I was working with, I was like, it is a big. It was the difference between getting everything I wanted on gift cards alone versus like having to chip in a $20.
Yeah, and Battlefield 5 is like.
And I was like,
I've
I
heard
don't
it's
really care.
decent, but if you're not a Battlefield fan, then it's just like, why pay the extra $30?
I was like, there's
Minecraft
no reason.
for free. All right.
So I bought an Xbox One S, which
did.
is dope, and it was funny because I was thinking through it, and I was like, man, I just miss Halo and Gears. Like, it's been such a high school nostalgia trip this week of playing Gears 4 and jumping on Halo 5, and I uploaded. I mean, like, I counted yesterday, so I had the actual number, but 20 games I have from my 360 library are all backwards compat. So there's only a few that aren't, and most of them are games that I'm like, I don't care. But man, it was just like, this feels so good to just have all this stuff that it's like, it's dope having all.
Plus, you can get that 4K movie now.
Yep.
That's gonna be dope, dude.
So that's a huge bonus. But so I bought the one. Gears 4 was on sale online for like $10, so I picked that up. Halo 5 I picked up, which wasn't on sale, but it's only $20. And then Sunset Overdrive was only $10 too at Best Buy.
I've never played that one.
It's from Insomniac. So
which made Spidey?
Spider, yeah, and it's not amazing because I had the huge chunky one way back in the day, and I had to get rid of it for whatever reason. I can't remember, but it was a fun game at the time. It was a very fun game. It's very kooky. It's very ridiculous. It doesn't have a lot of depth, but it's one of those short, obnoxious games you throw in and play, and It's a fun ride. So
Cool.
yeah, and I got it all for pretty cheap. So
Dope,
I was
dude.
like,
Yeah,
it was a good haul.
my tie into yours was, since I don't mean to go into my list yet, but the one thing I said on your list was that we should play through Gears together.
Yep.
It's co-op, so. And I'll be getting an Xbox as well, so.
I'll have to get live. I was like, oh, nuts.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So, but I was like, it's depending on when it'd be fun. It'd be a good time.
Yeah, I think there's some sales still going on for like 6 months for like $20 or something. So, keep an eye out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Was there anything else you got, or is that most
No,
of it?
I mean, I had a huge list, but it was a lot of stuff that either movies I've seen and I've just been waiting for the DVD to be like $4, or a secret, like a random find I found when I was out that I'm actually really excited for is I've only had the DVD version of The Punisher, the Thomas Jane version, and I found a 4K.
Ooh.
And I was like, I'm getting this 4K player, so like, dog, we got to do this.
We need to watch that together.
Oh my
sometime.
gosh, I love that movie. Such a good flick.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, so other than that, I mean, like the few movies that I haven't seen that I picked up is like Hostiles with Christian Bale. Look kind of cool. It's like a Civil War based movie. I think that is it. I think everything else on there, it was like Quiet Place, Blade Runner, a couple other things.
Did you get Jumanji?
Yeah, Jumanji was on that list.
I didn't see that one for some reason. But
like it wasn't there, or you haven't seen it yet?
No, I saw it. I just didn't see it at Best Buy for some reason.
Yeah, it was weird.
I didn't look very intensely because it was super chill this year. So
yeah, it was pretty empty by ours.
Yeah, literally,
which is really weird because last year was manic. It was crazy.
Yeah, like this year we went. So my mom's got a Meijer, which we don't have around here, but we went to Meijer first because it was open. There was nobody there, and they opened at 6 a.m. So maybe everybody had already gotten shopped, but like it was dead. I was like, is it even Black Friday? Like,
right? Yeah,
there's nobody here.
Yeah.
So I like checked it out. There was most of the games they had on sale. Like God of War was $20 there, but it was 17 at GameStop. So I decided not to buy it. But then after that, we went to Best Buy. Like, there was people in line, but, like, we walked in, got the movies, waited in line for, like, 5 minutes, paid for my stuff, and got out. And I was like, okay, this is painless. This is weird. Yeah. So then after that, we went to GameStop, which I thought was going to be crazy because GameStop is so small. Like, the store in
even, like, 5 people.
It's tiny. Like, 5 people is busy. Yeah. No. Walk in, grab the 3 games I want, the headset, and get in line, wait 2 minutes, boom, done. I'm like, okay, that's 2 stores down already, and it's only like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we did it in like an hour. It was crazy.
And then we go to Target, and I don't even think they had what I wanted. I wanted Justice League for like $6.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I couldn't,
that was
like
on my
sold
list
out.
too.
I couldn't
Justice
find
League,
it.
yeah.
I was ticked, so I didn't get it. I should have just bought it at Best Buy for $7. I was too picky. I was like, I need the $6.
This is Black Friday. I'm saving
gotta get the
$1.
best deal.
The best deal.
But yeah, then we went to Target, and it was just like, I got Live for $50 a year for Xbox.
Nice.
Because of my big purchase.
Yeah, buddy.
So yeah, it was a super chill Black Friday.
Tight.
I don't know what happened. It was weird. It was kind of nice. You just walk in, get your stuff, and get out, and like no hassle, no craziness. But yeah, my biggest purchase. If your list is done, right?
Yep, I'm cleared.
Yeah, my biggest purchase, which we alluded to, is the Xbox One X,
which I am really surprised at in a certain way.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's one of those things that it was for Christmas. I probably would have never paid my own money for it. The reason I finally decided to jump onto it was Red Dead. I was like,
oh, that being the best version of it.
Yeah, I was like, because I saw
that.
some videos and I was like, this game just looks next tier on 4K. And I was like, okay, this might be the time to finally just jump in.
Sure.
And so then, funny enough, I didn't even end up getting Red Dead for Xbox, but because it's still $60, and I was like, I want to see it eventually, and I don't even have a 4K TV yet.
Right.
It's more like I could either get the 4K TV and have nothing to actually use it for, or get the Xbox first and play in like a better version of 1080p,
right?
And then get a 4K TV eventually.
Yep.
So yeah, wanting to play Red Dead and The Witcher, I wanted to see because I saw some videos about that too, and I was like, being able to watch some movies in 4K Blu-ray would be dope, which obviously you don't need the 1X for that, but it's a bonus. And then just wanting to get an Xbox again, because the reason I sold mine before was I just needed the money and I wasn't really using it. But I do want to have one for backwards compatibility to play like the old Fallouts, to play some old games. Like there's a game called Dante's Inferno that I kind of want to play again. Yeah. Just a slasher game going through the 7 layers
they're
of
still
hell
and I think that they're still adding to the list.
Oh yeah, they keep adding to it.
So I mean, in my mind, and granted, they've already hit some of the biggest titles that
pretty much every game that I would want, I think, is on there so far, except a game called Singularity, which was just
I remember.
It's like it wasn't very critically acclaimed, but it was one of those games when I was in like the BioShock Metro sort of like walking sim shooter type games. It was one of those games in that kind of vein. And that one hasn't been added yet, but pretty much everything else.
All the BioShock games are on that too. So yeah, that
Plus
was my thing.
You can get the remastered collection for like $20 pretty much across the board now. So
yeah, that was my big thing, because I was thinking about it, and part of me was like, man, do I just buy a bunch of other random games and stuff? But I just really miss the Gears of War franchise and Halo, and now it's actually fun to be excited. Like, I've never hated Xbox. I had both at some point, but even it's like, Crackdown 3 is coming. I was like, I really don't care. I could care
less. The nice thing about that is another thing I bought was the Game Pass, which is actually pretty cool. Yeah. And Best Buy it was $70 for a year rather than the normal $120. So I was like, all right, I'll try it out, because there's actually a lot of good games on there. Like Fallout 4 is on there, which I wouldn't want to rebuy for the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the BioShock games. Pretty much any Microsoft first-party title is all on there. Any new game that comes out will be on there. So, like, Crackdown 3 will be on there day one. So I was like, all right, I'll test it out. So that'll be kind of fun to mess around with, too. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I don't know. I haven't had an Xbox in a year, maybe.
Yeah.
So you haven't had one for longer.
Yeah, really long time. So
it'll be fun if we can to play, like, Gears together or something, because I've honestly never played Gears in my life.
I think you'd really like it.
I think I would too.
It
might be fun to play together too, just because then it'll help me kind of ease into it. So
yeah, and it's one of those weird games too, where I think it's just it was that early 2000s weirdness of just it was that early 2000s edge, M-rated edge, where it was M-rated games now I feel like are fairly benign in a certain way. This was like,
sawing people in half.
Exactly,
with,
you're like,
guns.
You have huge chainsaw on the bottom, and I remember, I think
Curb
it was
stomping dudes' faces.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and they had, I think it was in the first one, and they brought it back in the third one, but it was a gun called the Lancer. It was the retro Lancer, and it was this giant bayonet on the end, so you could charge down the field, because that's how you sprint, is you hold down like a button to charge run, and so that way you could just run straight in cover and whatever. And I remember when they first showed Gears 3 at E3, and there was a scene where Marcus Phoenix is sprinting across the field and just nails this dude and like does the like on the thing and oh my gosh, it was just steroid muscular buff dudes running around with chainsaws and machine guns. Man, it's just so much fun. It's not the most amazing game ever made, but it's just, oh my gosh,
for its time it was pretty.
I was playing I was playing for a good chunk on Saturday, and because I haven't had a chance to play it since, and I know it's on PC, but I was like, it's just, I don't want to get my hopes up for like, I missed the other three, but it's just, I just had this stupid high school grin of like, man, I remember playing this with friends, and just the lunacy of chainsawing people in half and just be like, it's nasty, but yeah, it's just such a stupid fun game. So yeah, and that too, and Halo 5, like, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I feel like my angst towards a lot of that stuff has just subsided to the point where, the opening cinematic where it's Spartan Locke is, and him and his team are jumping out, and, they're running down this, like, snow hill, and they're, like, grabbing elites and, like, shooting them in the face and throwing grenades and stuff.
It's a fun game,
Man,
the campaign. I never
rowdy.
finished it because that was last year, I think, where I, like, did the full sprint, and I did, like, all of them in a row. So by the time I got to 5, I was like burnt out. And it was like, because the story changed, I wasn't as invested anymore.
Yep.
But it was pretty fun when I played it. So, and a lot of the mechanics they added were kind of cool. But
yeah, I
can see why people were mad too.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and I was bummed that they didn't have the split screen. I think that was my biggest gripe with it. But it sounds like they're bringing it back for 6. I thought I heard. So
yeah, I hope they heard the community loud.
I think people were pretty pretty clear on that. Yeah. So, But I mean, I'm hoping for Christmas to pick up Master Chief Collection and get that back again.
Yeah, I think that was one that I bought when I had an Xbox. I got it for like $10 digital. So like I'm kind of excited because I have like a bunch of games old already. Games like digital that I had downloaded in the past. So plus with the Game Pass, I think all of those are on there as well. So
that's awesome.
I'm pretty excited to get back into some of those old games and being able to play backwards compatible. I think I want to get through the Mass Effect trilogy eventually, and I'm just playing a third-person shooter on the PC just does not sound appealing to me really at all.
No.
So and like playing Mass Effect 2 on the 360 was like that's what I remember. So being able to play through the trilogy will be kind of cool.
Definitely.
Plus, I think with the Xbox One X, it upscales a little bit, so some of the games actually look pretty good. So yeah, I'm excited about that. That's most of the Xbox stuff I got. I did get some PS4 stuff. I got God of War, which, I think it's gonna be hard deciding between that and Red Dead for Game of the Year. I think because that game just like blew me out of the water. For some reason, and I was never a huge fan of God of War. It was like it's cool, it's Greek gods and whatever, like fun hack and slash, but like nothing groundbreaking really. But then this game, and I was like, but yeah. $17 finally jumped in.
Nice.
I should have given him the full 60, but I'm cheap. See, that's the problem with me. I don't support things that are good, but I buy Fallout 76 for full price. Although in my defense, I got Fallout 76 for like $34 something after discounts.
Suck it, Bethesda.
I got Spyro, which I was thinking about getting for the Xbox just because of the up-res, but then I was like, Spyro was originally on the PlayStation, so I feel like I need to keep him on his own console. So I got that for awesome. $30 from GameStop.
Nice.
And then I picked up Detroit Become Human, which I didn't think I would want to play, but it was on the Game of the Year list for that Game Awards thing, and I was like, it must be decent somehow. So I don't know. It was only $20, so I picked it up. So, and then I got a headset because the Xbox One X bundle I bought was the Fallout one, and some of my friends back home want to play it online, and I was like, all right, I'll play it online with you guys since it's coming with my Xbox anyway. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Dope.
So that's mainly what I got. And then I got obviously all the Marvel movies. I got Infinity War, Deadpool, Ant-Man.
Yeah, there's
Black
a good
Panther,
sale for once on superhero
Batman
flicks.
Ninja. Got for like $8.
I think I picked that up too.
Did you?
I think I had that on my list.
We're going to have to watch that next year and do a late to the party or something.
Yep.
And then Blade Runner.
Nice.
So I didn't get a ton of. It sounds like I got a lot of stuff, but price-wise, it's a lot. But compared to last year, I didn't pick up nearly as much stuff overall. So
when it's crazy, like when they were ringing up everything, and I was just like, "This is wrong. Like I should not like." This is
there's
basically
no other point in the
free.
year where
Yeah, it's like this, and just it was crazy. But so I am curious, then we can close out. But I am curious. So you was your rationale for the 1X versus the Pro that I want to get 4K, but I also want some of the benefits of actually jumping to another console. So like backwards compat, new games that I can't play on other stuff, and it's going to be like the best for certain things, or?
Yes. I think the main thrust, the thing that pushed me over was the graphical capabilities, because it can do true 4K 60. I don't know if it does 60 frames 4K. I think it does 30 frames 4K, but it can do 1080 60 frames for a lot of games. That was kind of the thing that piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm.
I think what actually made me decide to get it was the other aspects too, like the backwards compat. I was like, well, I do want to be able to play a lot of those old games. Like I've tried justifying not having one because of PC gaming. Like, I could play all these games on PC, fine, but I just don't like playing on PC for some reason.
Same.
It's just
I
like the convenience of console, and anytime I try and play on PC, my game ends up crashing at least once, and then I have to troubleshoot. It's like, I just want to throw the disc in, play the game. Boom. But yeah, I think the backwards compatibility thing is a huge reason. And then I think compared to the Pro, like it's probably not much different when you're talking about 4K, but I think it's different enough that I was like, I'd rather get the 1X if I'm going to get an Xbox over the 1S. Just because then I can play 4K and have the benefits of having an Xbox again.
Definitely.
So it was kind of the whole package that pushed me over.
No, that makes sense.
But yeah, before Red Dead came out, I was never fully sold on it.
Yeah. Well, Well, that was kind of my rationale too, because part of me was like, I don't need a 3, like I don't need a 1, like there's no point. But then it was like, well, I'm getting it for free. I have a whole huge library because I still have my 360, but I'm like, that thing's gonna fall. Like they just even the newer ones, I was like, that thing is gonna burn out at some point, and it was like there were so many.
I'm sure the 1S is just a little bit faster.
Yeah,
too.
And I was like, I'm sure with every, with all, it was a ton of like minor benefits that was like, wow, that's actually, if I'm getting this for free, like darn tootin', that's just a good deal. 4K player, can play 20 games out of my backlog for my 360 library, has 2 of my probably all-time favorite franchises ever, just from nostalgia factor. And it's like, it's just fun.
I felt the same, except for me. That's another one, Fable, being able to play.
Oh, yeah.
Although the last time I tried to play Fable 2 on the Xbox One, it was, like, atrocious. Like, normally I don't complain about frames per second because it's just, like, 30 frames is usually what I'm used to just because of console. But it was, like, 15 or something. Oof. Like, I was, like, going blind. I was, like, going blind playing it. I was like, so I hope it's gotten better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I didn't think I'd be excited about Xbox, but I think just seeing the announcements of all the studios that they're kind of picking up, I'm hoping that means they're kind of rebuilding momentum, which probably means next generation, in which case I'd have to buy a whole nother system. Right. But maybe I'll already have this one, and then I can get a trade-in deal at GameStop or something when they usually do pretty good deals. So
that's the thing too that's kind of funny is like I wonder if it is coming down because I think they need to compete now, and I think they know it because I think they don't have the heft, like it's that flip of they had the top spot from last generation. The 360 was hands down the better console, and they let it go. And I think they made an inferior console. They didn't have games on the system that were actually going to drive sales like Sony and Nintendo have, and I think it just fell flat. And so doesn't mean I don't love it.
And that's the thing that sucks is because like everything else about it is like this is like I wish Sony had a lot of these things. I wish they have PS Now, which apparently you can download games now, but like I feel like the titles on there aren't the same. And being able, like getting first party titles is awesome in my opinion. But that it's Microsoft, so like how many first party titles are actually like coming right now? Right. And Sony doesn't necessarily have to do that because they have 3 times the amount of consoles out there.
Exactly.
But yeah, having backwards compatibility is like, dude, why isn't Sony doing this? And like having the Game Pass is actually pretty cool in my opinion. But it's just like I wish they would get more games out. So it'll be interesting to see where the industry goes, and I'm kind of excited to get back into it a little bit.
I want some competition.
I do want to get a PS4 Pro as well. I figured I would rather get the other console first just to have both, and then upgrade my PlayStation eventually. Because I'd love to play it like God of War and Horizon. And a lot 4K, of because now it's going to be interesting because now that I have the One X, most multi-plat games will probably be on the One X, unless you and I are going to play them together or something, which we usually don't play games together because it's hard to plan online gaming in any fashion. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Hey man, I'd play some Anthem, but stuff's coming out that people are saying it's actually looking good. So I'm
hopeful. I'm usually hopeful for most games coming out. I bought Fallout 76.
Oh,
so.
You fool. You poor fool.
You dirty fool.
Dirty fool.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
that's the gist
we'll sign off, and we'll catch you next week. But before that, we'd like to let you know that you can check out our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and YouTube. We also have Twitter and Instagram, and you can find us at Six Wing Creative, at I am Phil Sorensen, at C San Pellegrino, and at Pop Culture Punks.
Yeah, buddy.
We also have a Redbubble and a Threadless, and we've got some designs on there that you can buy.
We're still running the giveaway, I think.
Yes,
that's going
we're
to the
still
end
running
of
the
year,
giveaway.
Probably.
Still haven't heard anything. We're just gonna count it to the end of the year, and we're just gonna once it hits 2019, we're gonna be like, no one cares about us, and we ain't giving away nothing.
So shoot us an email, popculturepunks@gmail.com, and let us know what your favorite moment
so
from
far
the podcast is, and you can win a $25 gift card to either Redbubble or Threadless.
Yep. And even if you don't like shirts, they have lots of other cool stuff. I've gotten mugs and stuff from Redbubble in the past, and they are high quality.
And if you feel bad and don't want to take our money, you can just shoot us an email anyway and let us know you don't want the money, but you still want to let us know what your favorite moment is. So,
because we
love getting feedback and we love hearing what you guys love. Yeah. So. Because we know there's lots of you out there.
We know.
Because we talk to you.
I know it. I can smell it. I can smell it.
So yeah.
And with that, that's it.
That's all.
That's all, folks. We will catch you on the next episode of the Pop Culture Punks podcast. And until then, we bid you a fond, Randy Savage-sized cowabunga.
I'm fat.
Job security, but I've been dreaming about packing it all up, 'cause the